Good morning and welcome back to the next episode of the WorthIt Basics series, and this is where we'll be going over today the WorthIt Recorder. This is one of the keynote features within WorthIt, and this gives you the ability to record and save your own farms. What you'll be wanting to do is by either loading the recorder in two different ways. You can either go over to the minimap and hold Shift and click to open up the WorthIt Recorder, which will come up as standard mode. You can either do this as well by going into the actual WorthIt, go to dashboard, go down to tools and press recorder. This will open up the recorder for you in order to actually do your farming. Now the standard UI you can see is pretty much just a recorder for your farms. You have a button for new farms, so you can get rid of a farm. You can then start a new farm. You can also save that farm, as well as you will then want to press your play button in order to start the farming session. You can either pause or stop depending on how you feel on all of your farming, and you also are greeted with different types of information in the recorder, which is the time you've spent on that farm, the name of that farm, which will default to the location. You have your location of where you currently are. Remember that when you start a new farm or a new session, it will reset it to wherever you are in the game. You will track your raw gold that you've been gathering through your farm, as well as items valued for your actual farm. As well as that, you also have the total value of your farming session, and that is where you can do in the standard UI. You also have a compact UI element, which you can then record your farm standardly, which will only show you the time and the total value, as well as the reset all instance button. The reset all instance button is pretty self-explanatory. When you are running a dungeon, you'll want to press reset all instances to reset the instance to go back in to start farming. Now let's get into the edit mode. Now with the edit mode in farming, say you just did a nice little farm, which currently for me is the Fell Iron Ore farm, and you can now adapt things to that farm. So we can then go over and click to any of the parts in the actual edit mode. So time, we can change the time and we can set a timer. We can either change the time by stating it in minutes, and this is how it is calculated. So I can actually do 30 minutes and it will base the farm off of 30 minutes. More often than not, it is generally 60 minutes, so we'll keep that like that. If you want to rename your farm, you can. This will be just going over to that. And your location you can change as well. Just be prepared that it has to be in the actual location of where you are before it will reset that location. So if I was in 𝐂𝐳𝐳, I could just go over here, go to the location for changing the location, press yes, and it will now change it to 𝐂𝐳𝐳 as I am currently in 𝐂𝐳𝐳. The next part is raw gold. You can adapt your raw gold. If some of the values came up a bit weird, you can adapt that now for yourself and then show that on. However, if you wanted to change the item values, you can, but that is with adding and removing items. Say we wanted to add an item to the WorthIt Recorder, well, we'll be wanting to go into our bags. We can go pick a random item for that farm. So at the moment it's Shadowy Shank. I can add this in and it will give you only one stack of that. But currently I have 3 in my bags, so I can then click on the double dashes. You will get a option for setting the quantity, which we'll be wanting to do. Set that to 3, and that will value it to that of 3 Shadowy Shank. That being said, if we want to vendor it, we can then add that to the vendor. That will take the vendor value of Shadowy Shank and add that to your raw gold instead. That being said, we can just zero that off if it is wrong for you. However, if you do want to remove something, you do have the option of removing an item from that. Just go to the drop down menu once again and then just press remove. It will remove that item. Sometimes some items like greys or items of note that have been tracked you want to remove. Now you have the ability to do that. You can adapt any of the items recorded in your session and remove any items that you so wish. That being said, let's go on to assigning a route to this actual farm. When you are recording, you want to save a route to your farm. You can then go to route. It will currently say none. This will require you to have the route add-on, so you can go over here, go to route, click on it, and it will give you a drop down menu of all of your routes in the route add-on, which you can assign any route you wish towards that. So I can go down to Terracar Forest, go to Fell Iron Ore, and assign that to that. This is where we'll save it, and then we can then close down the editor. One little keynote of the actual WorthIt recorder is you can actually track items if you are farming in a group of everyone, and you can gather up as much and you can track as a group is loot. It's one other feature towards the WorthIt recorder. This will bring us onto my farms and will be saved in there. And you can also go down towards that, and you can import the route you have assigned towards that. That being said, that is the overview of the WorthIt recorder. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video of this series soon.